Welcome to the Cryptonaut Podcast. My name is Mark Storrs, and I am joined by Mr. Christopher Carnicelli.
It's been a while, fuckers.
It's really been a while.
Dude.
Like, Chris has a whole new hairdo. Like, it blew my fucking mind.
Yeah.
It's like he's a long hair now. He's a different man.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I look like if Scott Stapp fucked a Thundercat and had a kid, and that kid is homeless for some reason. That's what I look like.
That's so spot on.
You definitely have some wicked fucking Thundercat hair happening. With
Yeah,
you,
it's
too,
bonkers.
Bill.
You should see it in the morning.
Is it just
Oh, is it
everywhere?
flying
Is it
up?
out?
Doc Brown. I'm fucking Beetlejuice. It's all kinds of things.
That's great.
The best.
And of course, Mr. Robert Thomas Morphy II.
Indubadilly.
Thank you all so very much. We're back. We're doing a Cryptonaut Podcast. Patreon, Robert. We offer it. Let's thank the good people that signed up this month.
Every time and every time.
Yes.
Thank you. We're going to begin with Kevin Jubinville.
Hell yeah, Kevin. Thank you.
El Generico. I think I said it right, actually. I should have emphasized the co because it's capital C, but El Generico.
El Generico. What up?
I love that. It would be totally one of my favorite luchadors.
For real.
Ryan McKillen.
Hell yeah,
Oh, that's
Mr.
the most vicious Celtic name. I love that.
Mr. McKillen.
Simon Meyer.
Oh yeah, Simon.
Vince Moore.
What up, Vince?
Nicholas Cleland.
Thank you so much, Nicholas.
Mason Morris.
What up?
Executive Assassin.
Yeah, no, right?
Miguel Botello.
What up, Miguel? Nice.
Nice. Nathan Gentry.
Hell yeah, Nathan.
Edward to his friends. Cunningham.
Mr. Cunningham.
Brian Dowell rounds it up.
Thank you so much, Brian
Dang.
Dowell. Patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast. If you'd like to support us, go there. Check it out. Super dope. We have a lot of awesome content over there. We do bonus episodes. We got a Discord server that we do a bunch of cool live shit on, so go check that out. Also, too, with our shout-outs, we are currently backed up. So when I said support us this month, these are actually probably supporters from 2 months ago, maybe.
It could happen that way.
We get backed up. So if you signed up and you haven't heard your shout out,
You will.
You will.
Take a few weeks, yeah.
It might take 2 to 3 weeks.
We
to
might
get
add
to
a
you.
couple names to the list. Maybe we'll go a little deeper.
We'll see. Yeah,
Who knows?
sometimes we get nuts. We try to keep it around 12 or 13, but maybe we'll do 15.
Why not?
You never know.
I mean, I love to mispronounce shit, and give me more options. I will take them.
Yeah, or when people send in their my dick cheese and then we miss it, and everyone's like, "Oh,
That's
you
gonna
guys
happen?
missed it."
Oh boy,
Yeah, you know what you're gonna do. Sometimes it happens.
One-upping us is like the saddest accomplishment you
I
can
mean,
have.
if you're paying
Oh,
a
man, I
dollar,
know, right?
good for you, I guess.
I mean,
but
we're just sad.
yeah, you're just picking on old dudes.
Shame on you.
Yeah, the shame. The shame is yours, friend.
It is kind of funny though when you get the messages from people. They're like, "You guys totally missed it." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. We
Yeah.
always do."
Shockingly.
Shocker, we always miss
Who
it.
knew?
That's great.
I don't know. I
Oh,
thought
that's funny.
Medici Ches was a fine French man.
But then when you actually think about it, you're like, "Oh, dude, my dick cheese."
There we go.
Mr. Ches, you won. Ches won. Cryptonaut 0. This week this actually is kind of neat because this is a term that you have coined.
Yeah.
This is your own term.
Happens from time to time.
So we're going to copyright it right now. That way when it ends up on some wiki somewhere, we can be like, fuck you. This is Rob's.
Fair enough.
There you go. Perfect. We're talking about Fae-liens.
Yes, we are.
And I did say Fae-liens.
You did.
I did.
That's how you pronounce it.
It wasn't right.
It was cute.
Fae-liens.
I mean, I even threw a goddamn hyphen in there to help you out.
It's
It's pretty obvious.
I got to keep saying it because I'm going to fuck it up. Fae-liens.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not Fae-liens.
No.
Okay, God, I'm so dumb.
It doesn't exactly roll off the
Chris
tongue.
and I had a whole thing getting coffee. It was weird.
Holy fuck. I can't even go in there right now.
He literally told me what coffee he wanted. It's the midnight blend. And I'm like, do you guys have the dark one that's, the nocturnal
It wasn't even that good. He asked me what coffee. He's like, "You want that midnight one?" I'm like, "Yeah," and then just completely fucking went like, I don't even know what's happened.
Dude, I think I maybe had a stroke, honestly.
That's fair.
I completely lost it. Anyway, here we are with Fae-liens. Let's get started. With 4 decades, paranormal researchers have been fascinated and confounded by the apparent connection between fairy folk and aliens. Here are a few of the bizarre beings that seem to tread that nebulous line between the realms of magic and that of high-extraterrestrial science, creatures which we have dubbed Fae-liens.
Indeed.
Excellent. Not Fae-aliens.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's
that
in
would
my
be,
head
that would
now.
be fair, too.
It's in my head.
Like, I'm just a guy that likes to hybridize shit. Everyone knows.
Nothing's going to be the same ever again.
Alliteration and fucking butchering words.
Awesome. All right, Bobby. Let's do it.
For centuries, our ancestors believed that we shared our world with a host of other highly intelligent, semi-humanoid entities that inspired a gamut of emotions from awe to delight to outright terror. Depending on where you're from, these beings can be referred to as duende, wang liang, tokoloshi, fairies, pixies, sprites, shishiga, goblins, tengu, ikhals, or elves, but they all represent various categories of inhuman entities who seem to be intrigued by and ostensibly occupy the same space as the human race. What agenda these at times gracious and just as often insidious imps have remains an open question, as does their relationship, if any, to the UFO phenomenon. Numerous paranormal researchers, most notably author, astronomer, internet pioneer, and ufologist, Dr. Jacques Vallée.
Oh, my dude.
A
Mr.
living legend.
Jacques Vallée.
Vallée, or Vallée. Some people say it. I say Vallée.
I say Jack Valley.
Oh, Jack Valley.
I mean, sometimes I'm alone.
Jack
Jack
Fabrice
Valley.
Valley.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm just alone doing something, I'll say Jacques. I don't know why. It's
Oh,
not.
yeah. No, it's fun.
Jacques.
Jacques Cousteau. Jacques Roulet.
Fucking love Jacques.
Jack
Vallée.
was.
Yeah. Jack was.
Jack was Valley.
Do your Jack West Valley. I saw an alien once. He's not going to appreciate that.
Dr. Jacques Vallée, as well as legendary Mothman chronicler John Keel, have investigated the fascinating correlations between alleged alien-human interactions during the modern age and reported encounters with a variety of fair folk from centuries past. Though, as is bound to be the case in such enigmatic explorations, the researchers behind these theories had a tendency to oscillate between various hypotheses. What they posited was that the mainstream, though still highly marginalized belief that these bizarre beings hailed from other planets and were in possession of highly technological vessels that enabled them to traverse vast intergalactic distances might not be correct. Instead, we could be dealing with indigenous intelligences that are perhaps capable of moving between dimensions and have been interacting with the human race since a time immemorial, and that their very existence has been passed down not as officially reported close encounters, but as folklore. The implications of this theory are mind-boggling, suggesting that this phenomenon is not merely one of curious interstellar explorers who happen to notice that a bunch of hairless apes on a tiny blue orb on the fringes of a spiral galaxy happen to be abusing atoms, but that our reality is actually infested with enigmatic entities of unknown capacities and origins who have been with us presumably since the dawn of time. Fascinating though it may be, the breadth of this topic is beyond the scope of this episode. And I want to say for the record, I have been doing this literally since day one where, maybe they're from another dimension, maybe they're fae folk, they're possibly aliens, there's technology involved. I am really desperately in the process of formalizing my thoughts on this and tackling this hardcore. That's not what we're doing today.
All right.
The Fae-liens, I know some people might thought, they're going to do their Tristis, they're going to do their ultra-terrestrial magnum opus. It's not happening. We're going to deal with some really weird shit that's fun.
Perfect.
But I am seriously trying to break this fucking conundrum down in what I hope is a broader and more objective light for a future date.
Nice.
Digression aside, to that end, we have cherry-picked some seriously strange, ostensibly extraterrestrial interactions that seem to tread treacherously close to the precipice of the more mystical world of the Seelie and unseelie courts. So without further ado...
Bringing the courts into this area.
The courts of both...
Sealy Dan.
Oh, my God. Honestly, can you see it? Can you see the album cover?
An actual pan playing a flute.
Oh, my God.
Exactly. Oh God, just an alien playing a guitar for too long.
I can't do it. We could literally spiral off on this.
I know.
Like an hour.
No, we can't go into Steely Dan world.
Okay. Our first case comes to us from David Webb's invaluable 1973, The Year of the Humanoids, which chronicled in depth one of the weirdest wide-spectrum flaps in paranormal history. But we're going to narrow our focus onto one specific event that occurred at about 7:30 p.m. on October 16th, 1973 in Albany, Ohio, which is located next to the West Virginian border, so it's down in southeastern Ohio.
Nice.
A notoriously active window area. as we all know, that whole region, Mothman and others, it's a fuck all zone for the weird. According to this brief yet tantalizing report, the incident began on the evening in question when an unidentified female witness claimed to have seen a quote-unquote ghost-like apparition floating approximately 50 feet off the ground, about 330 yards away. Let's just call that 1,000 feet. So not super close. But she saw it.
Cool.
The woman estimated that the strange specter appeared to be a thin, nearly 4-foot-tall humanoid draped in a diaphanous substance that resembled a person draped in a close-fitting sheet. The person draped in a close-fitting sheet is a quote directly from the eyewitness. Fascinated by this floating phantasm, the witness was then startled to see a brilliant 20-foot-wide white object darting back and forth just 25 to 30 feet off the ground.
Was it a ghost ship?
Sure. Why not? I mean, that's as good a theory as any.
Dude, the ghosts come out of the UFOs, dude.
When you don't expect, what you do not expect, I should say, when you're looking at the fucking the ghostly 4-foot-tall skinny dude, when you're looking at Ronnie James Dio's ghost floating fucking 1,000 feet away, it's a fucking UFO to accompany him.
No.
Yeah, I mean, that's some eagle eye shit. I'm going to be honest. But, like, it's like you're looking at shit 2 football fields away going, oh, no, it's got like Nikes with blue.
She's got eyes of a sniper, apparently.
All right, in all fairness, though, it could have literally been like 2 sticks tied together with a sheet. It could have been, you know what it could have been? A poverty kite. We don't know. And it just basically looked semi-humanoid. And I don't know how it got airborne. But who knows?
Give this kite to the poor children. They won't know the difference.
They won't know. Tie the sheet among the sticks and send them away.
For they are poor. They know not the difference.
And give them vegetable soup. No one else wants it.
It will fly. Not the greatest, but it will fly.
It shall fly. It will help their hearts from poverty.
But then the UFO shows up.
All right, here we go. UFOs.
Yeah. So, I mean, better.
Sweet.
The self-illuminated UFO got to within 200 feet of the astonished observer before shooting out of sight, evidently taking the perplexing phantom with it. Later that night, the woman, still baffled by her strange sightings, was stunned when a door inside her home opened, revealing what she described as a, quote, little blue-green thing, end quote.
Oh. All right.
This is where it gets fun.
Here we go.
The evidently irradiant entity stood about 2.5 feet tall, had short, stumpy arms, just rounded little nubbles.
Cool.
A body that flared out with no apparent legs or feet, and according to the illustration accompanying the report, which I included in the email so you guys can check it out, a large round head with a scrunched up face that bore a distinctly mischievous expression, all of which was haloed by, quote, spiky things at the top and side of the head, end quote.
What am I even seeing?
Take a look at the picture.
If you look at the picture, yeah, it looks like
looks like a Cabbage Patch doll in a nightie surrounded by porcupine spines and glow.
Yeah.
With like a really kind of not evil, but like an old school cartoony mischievous
or like
face.
Who's that guy that's always pissing on stuff? You know, the cartoon is
Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah, it's like that guy like pissing on.
All right, so yeah, like a real like a 4-year-old rudimentary Kelvin in a cloak with spiky hair.
They're perfect. Well, there you go, man. This is what you
get. Well, okay.
Cool.
And glowing blue-green, apparently.
He's powering up in a closet. Okay.
He's going super. Right. He's got a Super Saiyan. There you go.
The two beings simply stared at one another before the tiny turquoise terror quickly disappeared from sight. Though whether it vanished or merely moved back the way it came went unreported. What also went unreported is the witness's reaction to the entities and objects she had encountered on October 16th, but one can safely assume that no sleep was to be had in her house that night. It's worth mentioning, as a side note, that October of 1973 was a particularly dense month for odd encounters in the United States. So, obviously, you know, we even had a long discussion with our buddy Rob Christofferson about the humanoid sightings of 1973. It is a banner fucking year.
Yes, that episode got lost to the internet.
Oh, now it's a discussion. I
Yeah.
would have said it was a pod.
Yeah.
It is no longer a pod.
No.
But we did spend about 3.5 hours breaking it the fuck down
Yes.
with our good buddy and extraordinary podcaster, Mr. Christopherson. And this was one of the ones that always, for years, really stood out to me. So it is part of a denser clump. And at one point in the future, I don't know what, there's a particularly bizarre semi-invasion of Georgia during October of 1973. So that's just put that in your hat.
All right.
Put that in your probable pipe and
I like
smoke
that.
it.
There you go.
Oh man.
All right. All that shit aside, it was a crazy fucking year for weird things. And that's all we have about that. It is shockingly sparse and yet surprisingly dense in intrigue. Because you have a fucking ghost or a poverty kite. You have fucking a UFO that flies around just 30 feet above the fucking ground. You go inside and you're like, that's some weird shit. A ghost and a UFO. Who thought? And then little spiky blue fuck all, apparently glowing based on the illustration. Like you said, very much like a weird Kelvin meets like the yellow kid from like really early comics. And it just looks at you, scrunches up its fucking grill, and then backs away.
Is
Yeah,
gone.
just out.
Yeah, it's weird.
I'm out.
Tiny people fucking with you.
Dude. All right.
Fae-liens, dude.
Bro.
Fucking Fae-liens, bro.
Fucking Fae-liens and poverty kites,
Fuck,
dude.
man. Pit vipers and Fae-liens.
Oh,
it's
dude.
all together,
Fuck
man.
yeah.
It's coming together,
Oh,
G.
Cobras.
Dude, cobras?
Cobras.
Like
Cobra Kai's.
Cobras.
Like the
All black
snakes
velvet Cobra posters.
with pit vipers.
Straight from a state
But they
fair.
weren't just posters. They were velvet because the fucking cobras were velvet.
Yes.
Oh,
And
shit.
so like we have to make this as real as possible.
It's true.
When we hand
The
this out to
velvety coat of
people.
the cobra.
Right.
All right.
And when you put that shit in a black light, you could die.
That's
The
why
venom activated.
I got my pit vipers to prevent from getting the venom in my eyes.
That's how. Oh my God.
Right, and why do you think
Oh,
they're called pit
spitting.
vipers? Because they wore fucking sunglasses. Velvet cobras that wore
What the
fucking
fuck?
sunglasses.
It all comes together.
They hissed, you died, you had no choice. Just no saving throw, you're fucking dead.
That's true. You can't lay on
Yeah.
it anymore.
Oh, shit. All right.
Too
Well,
fucking cool. You're like, I can't. I can't. You go to heaven, they eat your corpse, and they move on to the next world.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to get fucking
I'm there.
shot up to the good side of the afterlife.
I'm totally there. All right, Robert, continuing on with our next case.
Oh, let me sip my sweet Woodhouse. We will be thanking someone for that later.
That's hilarious.
Is it Woodhouse? No,
Woodford.
It's Woodford Reserve.
Yeah, it's
let
top
me
shelf
pretend I can
shit.
read.
All right, perfect. Hey everybody, what's happening? Mark here. We just wanted to take a moment to tell you about our good buddy, the magical wizard of whimsy, Mr. Todd Purse. Check him out over at createmagicstudios.com. He's done a bunch of cool t-shirt designs for us in the past. He's an awesome illustrator and artist. And recently, Todd launched the Create Magic podcast. This is a daily audio microdose of weird art and the inspiration behind the illustrations that Todd posts each morning. Creativity and the paranormal meet for 5 minutes a day to kickstart the whimsy and weirdness in your world. That is available on Spotify, so be sure to go and follow that. Also, too, Todd has a really cool comic book series, The Personal Folklore. Currently, issues 1 through 4 are available at createmagicstudios.com. He also got some dope t-shirts and posters and all kinds of other cool merch happening over there. You can support Todd on Patreon at patreon.com/createmagicstudios, where he has really cool daily art offerings to check out. All the links for this will be in the description of this podcast. And again, he's a good friend of the show. We are super stoked to support him. Check it out. Todd Purse, our dude, magical wizard of whimsy. And now back to the show.
Our next case was culled from a 2016 article by renowned ufologist and author Scott Corrales. This dude has been chronicling Latin American, South American, Central Caribbean cases and beyond forever and is just fucking phenomenal. So full shout outs. We're going to be using a lot of his work from here on out. But Scott Corrales wrote an article titled Diminutive UFO Occupants or Elementals. And I'll be reading from it.
All right.
Quote, traditional cases involving close encounters of the third kind are as rare as hen's teeth these days. These occurrences involving contact between alleged non-human entities and ordinary humans filled magazine articles and news columns in the 60s and 70s, petering out in the 80s as UFO research went into a deep sleep or into a cocoon from which an entirely new thing emerged. a media-savvy ufology front-loaded with images and situations drawn from television series, like V, and conspiracy literature. Roadside encounters in the night were replaced by more convenient non-humans visiting witnesses, now called experiencers, in their homes. These two would slow down to a trickle, and other pursuits would fill the agendas of a new generation of researchers. The old-fashioned quaint encounters did not go away, however. A careful search will show you that human lives are still affected by contact with the unknown in master of words, in remote corners of our planet. And while they may lack the impact of a Travis Walton or Pascagoula type case, they are compelling in their own right. End quote. So I agree completely with what he had to say. And what's interesting is that, I mean, obviously we were still kids in the 80s, essentially. Like, I guess I'm not like a super studious historian of the study of UFOs. Like, I'd like to learn about the progress of the encounters and the UFOs themselves and whatnot, but I haven't really thought about, I mean, about the, Lorenzen, the Coral Lorenzen and her husband, I'm forgetting her name, and of course, Alan Hynek and fucking Dave Webb and Ted Blocher and all these investigators, and how, like, especially through the 20th century, the UFO phenomenon and the alien-human interaction phenomenon progressed. Can't say I'm an expert at it, but that's what I follow. I spent less time in my entire life studying how people studied it. Obviously, Mr. Corrales did not.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to note that, because we said a bunch of times, the coolest shit happened in the 60s and definitely the 70s.
Oh, for sure.
Whether it's cryptozoological, whether it's ufological. Not all. Lots of batshit crazy stuff happens in other times, but most of the highly reported batshit crazy stuff is from then. And so what I didn't think about is and this is from a United States perspective, in the very conservative, huddled down Reaganite 80s, when pop culture was all like spandex and glam, all the stuff I love, but people weren't getting like headlines about UFO stuff anymore. You'd be getting like 7th page derision at best in newspapers.
Oh no! I mean, you were too busy thinking that you might get fucking bombed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the 80s was just, the big horror for me. It was just nuclear war.
Always. You and I both lived in that same cocoon of terror.
I mean, it was okay. The 80s was okay for a while, and then it was just like any day now. Fucking
Jesus.
Until about 88 or so.
Somewhere between Thompson Twins, Madonna, a nuclear apocalypse, fucking
Annihilation was nigh.
Professional wrestling.
Day,
it was
potentially
shit got lost in the
And then also too, this is kind of the rise of like the National Enquirer. Like, that's where I got all my UFO shit, like, as a kid, like, the dumb shit stories.
But the Bat Boy.
Not surprisingly, though. Well, that's the Jesus Christ.
Weekly World
News. No, but
Weekly
just that whole,
World News.
the whole fucking...
But surprisingly, just on a side note, National Enquirer did publish a lot of stories that ended up being legit.
Yeah.
They did it under an umbrella of assholery.
No, they ironically.
And it was all dumb and looked down upon, and people shat on it because it was the National Enquirer. Now it's just a conservative talk piece. But back then, they would actually take these little obscure stories like about the Bet's Mystery Sphere or who the fuck knows what else, and they would report on it when none of the major newspapers, which used to report, as Corrales said, on the Pascagoula case, would come forward. So it's absolutely right. So this situation, now that I've really thought about it, it kind of went into a coma, as he says, where people are processing it, pop culture is not interested in it, just small factions of it, and then Whitley Strieber drops his fucking communion bomb. And from that moment on, I've often complained about my loathing of the Greys and their ubiquitousness, and maybe it's real, and sure, I'm sure some people are dealing with this, and I feel bad for them, but where did all the fun shit go? The fun shit didn't stop. The fun shit stopped being reported because this was a national bestseller. This was a phenomenon that they could glom onto. This is what the psychologists and the people that were risking their reputations were studying.
For real, yeah.
So,
for sure.
All that aside, I got to give, again, Scott Corrales a lot of credit for making me think about it this way. But he is also right when he says, while they didn't have like quite the same impact as a Walton or a Pascagoula abduction, shit happened. So, he continues, one such incident comes to us from Costa Rica's Exploración OVNI, I guess Explorers of UFOs website, which presented us with a case that reportedly occurred on May 7th, 2012, in the small hours of the morning, 1:30 a.m. to be exact, at a small community known as Bagazzi near Guanacaste, want to cast? Anyone want to help me on that?
Guanacaste, maybe?
Yeah, you got me, dude.
In the smallest but loveliest of Central American countries. No names were given, but webmaster Fernando Tavara provides a transcript of the report as it was received. It reads thus. So from here we go from Corrales' words to the reprinted words he published.
Okay.
Quote, a friend and I were involved in tourist service business in a community known as Bagasse in Bagasse's Guanacaste, Costa Rica. Sorry about all the words. The town of Bagasse is 1 kilometer distant from the Palo Verde National Park, and we chose this location because I had visited it with my family for 15 years. It's a long visit. And its vegetation and natural attractions are incredible. I moved to the community and rented a somewhat rustic lodging. There was no glass on the windows. There was screen to keep the bugs from coming in and some bars around the window. But from within, I could see the surroundings and distant landmarks from the room. Only a few people make up the community, 50 at most, and the school has only 2 classrooms. There's a soccer pitch and 1 store from which essentials can be purchased. So I'm getting remote, basically.
Extremely remote.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Back to Corrales. The author of this report goes on to provide additional details on the area concerning agricultural production, the vast amount of wildlife, and the fact that Guanacaste received the most amount of sunlight during the day while being the darkest location in the country at night. Light pollution was non-existent. One night, described as excessively hot and dark, so dark that he was unable to see his outstretched hands before him. That's too dark for the record. I cannot sleep in that kind of darkness.
No,
I cannot live in that dark. I'm suffocated.
I used to for years.
Yeah.
Years
It's too
growing
much.
up. And it was like silence.
Dead silence.
And absolute darkness.
Pitch black. Yep.
No, now I need a little light. I need 17 fans.
Yeah. No, I definitely I need low rumbles.
Yeah.
I'm probably watching like some Filipino exploitation film from 1973 to fall asleep to.
No,
and
right.
street lights
Like,
coming in from outside. It's
yes.
totally a comfort to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Look how this is perfect sleeping.
if I wake up and can't see my shit, I literally feel like I'm being smothered.
Yeah,
It's
I
terrible.
couldn't.
Yeah.
I can't
No,
deal
death
with
is
that.
nigh. The second time I said nigh. I don't know why. It's fucking.
No doubt. The witness saw what he believed was the light of a motorcycle headlight reflected against the wall of his room, but was unable to hear the sound of a distant engine. Local dogs started to bark as the light grew nearer, no longer white or light yellow, but orange. Quote, and this is from the eyewitness, the light came from the screen mesh, a tube of powerful orange, non-halogen light whose brightness appeared to dim as it entered the room, end quote. I don't know if I could specify halogen, but...
Yeah, that's, like...
Maybe that like that weird dingy light. Like if you look at like an LED, it's got like that bright, but like
Oh,
a
yeah.
halogen, maybe it's just kind of like dingy looking. Like
That's
that,
true,
like,
and fluorescent
like-
has the hazy glow.
yeah, like nicotine light. I call
I
it,
guess,
'cause
but
it
that's
looks like
like
nicotine
usually
stains.
you can,
That's fair.
you know, from looking at the source,
right. Yeah.
but not like looking just what it's casting.
Right.
I don't know if I would know an LED from halogen, from fluorescent,
Yeah,
looking
I mean, unless
through
you-
mesh,
Sure.
casted on a different fucking surface.
Yes.
Huh.
Halogen Lord,
Nice.
Light King.
The king of light.
Corrales continued. Far from being frightened, the witness marveled at the tube of orange light, realizing it had nothing whatsoever to do with a motorcycle headlight. And the eyewitness speaks again. It measured some 50 centimeters wide and made a fluid, watery motion which I compared to gelatin. It had a life of its own, and it stopped 1.5 meters from my head, since I was lying in bed with head to the west and my feet to the east. The thing came through the window, and I was able to see the tube of light contained an object in its rounded tip. So I think we're going to have to try to break this down a little. I think it's an independent tube of light that is undulating, sort of, I mean, he says fluid compared
Right.
to gelatin, so he's using very evocative adjectives. It's
Yes.
just there, and then in this, like, self-contained, wispy, you know, I'm thinking like optical effects from the 80s here, tube of light, there's an object in what is the rounded tip at the top.
All right.
That's my assumption. Back to Corrales. What follows is the most astonishing description. The object in the orange shaft of light appeared to protect a small entity standing some 40 centimeters tall, approximately 15 inches, described by the witness as, and this threw me off, reptilian, quote, similar to a manta ray, except that it was contained in this substance, its hands and feet outstretched, as if floating within the gelatinous tube, giving it sustenance and protection.
That's so fucking cool.
It's so cool. I mean, it's like Hyper Abyss meets fucking all sorts of great fantasy
And
stuff.
it's-
Little
dude,
Men in Black.
It's a weens.
It's a little wink.
It's a
No,
little
it's
weens.
tiny.
Yeah. And
So-
he's just floating like this.
Let's
Not
just
we, I mean,
let's
it's
just
just full
enjoy
of
this.
hate. He's full of hate.
Its arms and legs, its feet are
Yeah, it's
outstretched.
floating.
It's floating in a gelatinous tube of light. It's
Yeah.
all beautiful, but it's reptilian, similar to a manta ray. So what I'm getting from this is that no, let's not,
Okay,
because
all right.
I'm sure this guy can know the difference between a fish and a reptile. We don't know for
Okay,
sure,
all
but
right.
let's assume. I'm thinking that it might have been scaly and obviously had arms and legs and feet and hands, but that it also had a flappy wing or wings that resembled a manta ray.
I like that. So it's like a
So a
winged.
repto
Oh,
ray.
those
Dude,
flying
it's a-
lizard
it's a-
type things, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's a
Right.
winged draconian, dude.
In the little tiny gelatinous
Yeah,
tube.
and he's just in there hissing.
Well, it was in an object in the tube.
And yes, you're right. In the
Whatever
flowy
that
light
fucking
tube,
means.
in an object was a 15-inch, just over a foot big,
Doing interpretive dance
doing interpretive dance.
while it's floating into the room for some fucking reason.
I spent
Mark.
a lot of my weekend with interpretive dance. Okay, I don't know if I can go
So it's
back
not
there.
funny anymore. Yeah,
No,
that
no, I
laugh,
can't
that laugh
do
was
it.
not a funny laugh. That was
No.
a desperate man's
No,
laugh.
At one point, I'm just like, this song's a bummer. This dance is a bummer. I just want to see my
No,
little.
I'm,
That's
I wanna see
interpretive
my-
fucking dance.
That's a big part of your life. Is you've got a lot of relatives that do interpretive dance.
I just want to see my little girl do her song, and then I'm just sad. It was a long weekend.
Because you have to
dude.
stay for the whole thing.
You
Because
did.
if you leave
You
after
did.
your kid's done,
Really?
you
Yeah.
get the eyes of other
Yeah.
parents.
Dude,
why can't they do
the
happy
bitter,
songs?
staring eyes
There's-
are like, I stayed for your kid, fucker. I know your name.
Dude, there was no. It was just a bummer. There was some
Did
song
you
about.
ever know that you're my
I wish. No, I wish.
Wow.
You can't see what I'm doing right now.
No,
By
it was
comparison?
some weird song where the dude was like, "Today I looked up how long it took to drown," and it was some weird poetry thing. And I'm just like, "This is uncomfortable."
Baby shouldn't dance to that.
Back to the story, Rob.
No. Okay.
He shouldn't.
Do I need to call somebody?
Yeah,
Fuck,
really,
this is
though.
fucking
It was
illegal.
a weird. All the girls did exceptional. They were excellent.
Nobody's
sure.
saying that.
It's a long
It's just.
The
Yeah,
interpreter.
the organizers, I'm a little worried about.
I got bummed out. This is the whole
How
thing.
about
All
this
right.
one's about unicorn
Hey, man.
stampede?
Yes,
Hey,
exactly.
you know where we're at? We're in a tube of light with a little reptilian stingray
In
and
a fucking
everything's gonna be
globe.
better. All right.
Unicorn tits. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Nobody said that.
Nobody did at all. But I'm just letting him have it because he needs it.
I need it.
Okay.
He watched a man drown while a child danced.
Suckle upon the teat of the unicorn.
All right, so we got a basic description of the thing.
Yep.
The diminutive creature's head was described as rhomboidal.
What does that mean?
A rhombus?
A rhombus.
Oh, I don't know what this is.
Oh my
All
God.
right, just keep going. I can't keep interrupting.
With small eyes and a mouth, a featureless nose, and no tail.
No.
So he's got little tiny eyes, little tiny mouth,
Getting
a
harder
little
to
dippy nose.
fucking picture.
What? No. Yeah, no. It's just it's a
Rhomboidal
rhomboidal
fucking
head,
head?
on a reptilian
All right, so
humanoid
it's
body.
a fucking diamond.
Yeah,
All right.
rhombus.
Ish,
Why
yeah.
don't you say diamond? I
Well,
guess
it's
you're
not.
rhombus.
It's not exactly a diamond.
It's close.
Or fine.
That's only if it's that way. If it's that's a rhombus.
Okay.
right?
All right. It's dimodial. Are you happy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dimodial.
Rhombitional.
Dimodial.
Ah, rhombitional.
Dimodial tits.
I saw my entire room illuminated, goes the witness, and could not take my eyes off this animal as I considered it to be such. I felt no fear and thought that I could easily catch it in my hands since it was level with my chest. Oh, it's floating right above me.
Oh, weird.
I had a feeling that this creature was a watchman, a monitor of the area, and entered my room out of curiosity in a relaxed and very natural manner. Nothing's more natural than a tube of light, gelatinous
It's
light.
just, I didn't know it was like 3 inches above his chest. He's just watching it go by. Right above his chest. He's like, oh my God, it's the monitor.
Dude, it's kind of the coolest park ranger ever, man. He just kind of shows up. He's like,
Oh, I'm totally thinking fucking
Yeah.
Green Lanterns.
God.
Like certain fucking Fae or whatever aliens are assigned this guy's bedroom.
he's a watch. Oh my God, it's great. All right, cool.
I do love it. I love how
Holy
calm
shit.
he is.
Yeah, it's a very natural manner.
How? And
There's nothing
what part
natural.
of this thing and anything about it says this is exactly how
Nothing.
this rhombus-headed fucking manta ray-backed reptile would do it in a tube of light.
Nothing.
There's no other way it would happen. It's the most natural fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Upon realizing that the room was occupied and its occupant awake and alert, the light became solid and rigid. Gone are the fluid, easy days of yore.
Dude, it got hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got hard.
Okay, keep saying that. According to the eyewitness's
Gross.
testimony, it lighted and the light contracted and left the room in a split second. All right, so upon realizing he's there, ease is gone.
In other words, it became unfluid and
Unfluid too. Yeah, it's not happening. I don't know about you. I'm seeing like crazy trails, like whenever they try to do like a lighted version of what an acid trip is or something in a cheesy movie or something.
Okay.
Like flowy, weird, whatnots, and all of a sudden it's like zoop,
solid beam,
solid and rigid,
out,
Yeah.
boom, gets to a little tiny point, shoots.
There you go.
That's what
Gets
I'm saying.
hard and shoots.
Oh boy. So here we are.
You're fucking fired. I'm back, and you're fired.
The eyewitness continues. I jumped on my bed and managed to see it turn to the northeast, as if terrified at having been seen. It left the way it came through the trees where the dogs had been barking, a 300-meter stretch in 2 seconds.
Oh, that's fast as fuck, dude.
He adds that he was accustomed to making use of a stellarium. Anyone care to guess here? I mean, it's written down, but
Software that creates the planetarium effect.
Yeah, there it is. There
Nailed
it
Nice.
Hold on, nailed it.
How'd you know that?
Yeah, I
to
nailed it.
study the stars and follow man-made satellites, and one of the lights in the sky was brighter than normal. Despite the absolutely clear night sky, the unusual star stopped being visible after a few minutes.
Nice. All right,
It
well.
went into the cosmos, from whence it was.
Yeah, he went back home.
Or maybe not. See, we always assume they're interplanetary. That's the whole goddamn thesis here.
Yeah.
Maybe it just went to the stars like, oh, he saw me. And then our equivalent of like running away like a couple hundred yards after a ding-dong dash could be his equivalent of 6 light years, collect your shit, come home. Who knows?
It just goes way far.
Yeah, just because it can. It contracts in a little tiny beat of light, go, pew!
And then he shoots back. It's got back.
And it's like, I have a home planetarium, and I don't know what the fuck that is. But I know it's not natural.
I have one of those
Right,
apps
right.
on my phone where you can like put it to the sky and check out the constellations. It was expensive.
Really?
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Is it
yeah.
useful, though?
For the kids are like, I want to see the constellations. And I'm like, yeah, here, look.
Oh, it's all right, because
Do
my
it.
parents constantly, because I was always that kid that wanted to go out and see constellations, and eventually, with great effort, they found the Big Dipper in Orion infallibly, and I didn't know a single other constellation.
Nah,
so,
it's only ones I really know too.
yeah, but the app is going to help you. That's the goddamn
Yeah.
point. I don't
You're
fault
right.
my parents for not being astronomers. I'm not pissed at them. They took me outside. They're
Damn
like,
you.
Well, and then, of course, the Big Dipper, what it relates to. Yeah, Dad, the North Star. I know.
Yeah.
Thank you. But, fuck. It's good to have an app that helps.
Yeah, I
Teach
mean,
the kids.
It's more impressive than that fucking Stephen Greer app that I got. That thing sucks. Meditating and
Dude, you don't meditate though. Maybe if you were
Chakra
meditating,
with aliens.
you'd be having full on
Maybe.
conversations.
Man, it's a
with them
waste
right
of
now.
$10.
Yeah.
It's a waste
Good
of $10.
contact.
Try harder. Hey, instead of making your daughter dance to suicide notes, maybe she could fucking work
She
on
didn't-
meditating to aliens.
She didn't dance to that song. Other girls were dancing to that song.
Hopefully, the older children who can handle it.
It was the older children, but my poor daughter was like, what was that? And I'm like, I don't know, man. It's just, they're doing interpretive dance. They're expressing their emotions. And I mean, good for them. They all fucking kicked ass. But at the same time, I'm a little sensitive. And I'm just like, God damn it. Can't we just have the little bubblegum dances?
You would not like the Japanese death dance.
No, I wouldn't.
That whole
I would
subgenre
not.
of horrible.
No,
Right.
man. I just want to hear little cool little dances and shit, dog, and get the fuck out.
All right, let's get our home planetariums together and get back on point.
Let's fucking
All right,
do it, dude.
Stellarium.
Okay. Scott continues. Cases involving diminutive non-humans are nothing new, and the Costa Rican case shares characteristics with others in Latin America and elsewhere around the planet. Although the witness makes a connection between the tiny reptilian creature and the elusive star, there is nothing to suggest that it is a craft from another planet.
True.
Corrales continues. In May 2008, an Argentinian newswire reported that the citizens of San Carlos in the midwestern part of the country had witnessed a small creature standing no more than 40 centimeters tall, again, about 14 inches, with the uncanny trait of being able to generate a kind of force field that kept people from getting close to it.
Oh, this is so cool.
The witnesses to this high strangeness event, whose names are given as Walter Lopez and Omar Ferlati, reported their sighting to officials, describing the entity as, quote, small, glowing, and wearing pants.
Yes, it's got.
I mean, you got to pay.
Yeah, you can't be walking around naked.
No.
Your little dinky balls
Hide
hanging
your
out.
shame,
Yeah,
sir.
No.
Jesus Christ.
That space hog going everywhere. You can't do that.
I mean, that could just be the source of the energy, though.
It could be.
Oh, that's why he's covering
mean,
it
You
up.
think they're hiding their dicks, but they don't care about that. It's just that's where they.
That's where the
That's where
power
they
source
keep-
is.
All right, there you go.
I mean, go
Perfect.
back to, Draguignan and the fucking red pants
Or
of
badges.
glory.
Yeah.
You know.
just dicks.
Maybe that's why the
I mean, whatever.
the
Not just
frogmen
dicks,
wear
could be
parachute
badges.
pants. Hide their shame.
All right, because they're fucking
right.
slinging it.
So,
Or not.
God damn it. And was apparently shielded by a magnetic field. This apparent close encounter of the third kind took place as the entire valley region, the Valles Chalaquis of Salta, I'm sorry, read it if you want to know, was in commotion over a large UFO reported in the area. So there's a mothership there, too.
Oh.
Quote, kids aren't going out at night for fear of the strange creature in the UFO, claimed a resident of San Carlos in a statement to the COPENOA news agency. Easy.
Perfect.
Ferlati and Lopez's account dovetails with one given by a shepherdess of the hills. Oh, fighting fucking...
Yeah.
Fucking,
Whoa,
sheep
cop,
slaying-
copter head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Potosi.
who was startled by the strange visitor. Police have stated that both stories coincide and that local residents are indeed frightened. Quote, I think this is by the police. It hasn't been seen again. It would be good for it to return to ascertain that the events were indeed as described, said Deputy Sheriff Louis Caminares. So Louis like, let this motherfucker come back to confirm this shit. 'Cause you know what? He's a skeptic, but I don't blame him.
But that's absolutely.
I love that.
He's
not
not
like-
wrong.
A lot of
He's not
cops
wrong.
would just be like, I just want this shit to end. I don't want my fucking late night jaunts to be interrupted by dumb shit. He's like, get the fuck back here.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
see what's up.
Yeah,
So, good on you. Not all locals were as agitated about the diminutive visitor. Andean peoples have an extensive tradition of small creatures usually lumped under the classification of imps or goblins. And they are purportedly the spirits of children who died unchristened by the water of Christ
Yeah, well, yeah.
or attacked their parents. So
Okay.
I love that their fairy lore comes from, oh, yeah, no, you didn't baptize that baby.
So
Yeah, it's an evil imp.
I feel
oh,
like
wait, you punched your mom
that's
that one
not
time? Well, don't punch your
uncommon,
fucking
yeah.
mom. But,
maybe your mom needs punching.
yeah, well, I don't know.
Is this in the area of the Potosi sheep, the sheep slayer? The Andes? I think it
No,
is.
Yeah.
I thought it was.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Because that was described as being as not being like super big, like it was kind
no,
of
it's
smaller.
like 4
yeah, and they
foot,
had the helicopter thing, so that's
and the helicopter
interesting.
chair and
yeah.
the beanie and the fucking
Huh.
the
All
sickle
right.
and chain.
There you go.
Here's the thing, though. I'm really borrowing heavily on Mr. Corrales' work here, and I have to admit I didn't like check all the geographical backgrounds that I
Right.
usually would. I was kind of in a rush today, but it's something someone could find out and tell us.
Looking it up right now.
Indeed. Pablo Villarrubia, a tireless journalist of the occult, shouldn't we all be? Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's ever a title.
What a fucking title. Visited the Cafayette Museum in the city of Salta to speak to curator Elga Bravo, who was very forthright in their discussion on the subject of these half-magical, half-real subhumans.
And we are in the area of the sheep slayers.
Okay, so where is this specifically?
We're close. Argentina.
Fucking A.
There you go.
When asked if the imps had ever been reported in Cachi, she replied affirmatively, adding that the creatures were even known as El Duende de Toma, Colorado, the Toma, Colorado imp,
Oh, shit.
an entity that was more playful than perverse. Not sure I like that
Yeah,
word.
why did
I mean,
they use
you could have said
perverse?
dangerous. You could have been a lot of things.
Like he's like a little toucher or something?
Well, maybe the
like,
thing about the Zimbabwe goblins or heaven forfend the Papabawa.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus, don't even
Yeah.
say its name.
Yeah, you're right.
Christ.
It's going to be an election year soon.
Yeah, fuck, we're screwed.
But which hadn't been seen for years. Quote, one wonders whether these entities could be related to elemental forces of the earth, nature spirits of a kind. Not the slightest hint of technology is evident. The orange tube of light in the Costa Rican case did not seem to have a generator or controls. The personal force field used by the Argentinian imp did not appear to be related to a device worn on its body, at least not one that the witnesses were able to see.
Just using his chakra, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
So I dig.
He does.
Clearly.
He's got his Reiki powers. Like, whoa.
And hey, you know, the powers of
getting everybody.
releasing the body's energies are
I mean,
phenomenal.
it could be Magneto, and you guys don't even care.
It could be.
I mean, I think
You're just like,
I think Chris is right. We're wrong.
Yeah.
It's a tiny Magneto. He's
So,
just there to free his
well,
mutant people.
what I would say
Unreal.
is, with all deference to Mr. Corrales, just because there's no evident bulky gears and nuts and bolts and levers and buttons technology doesn't mean the reptilian stingray with the rhombus head wasn't in some sort of field. I mean, it was in a container within a gelatinous, you know, orange,
Maybe
pillar of light.
Fairies have different tech than we do. They have like
Exactly.
organic tech.
Or, you know, again, we always say it, but like Arthur C. Clarke said, any technology sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic. There's shit we have, obviously, that would blow away people from the Middle Ages and
CD-ROMs, dude.
CD-ROMs. That would just blow their tits out.
CD-ROMs. Think
Yeah,
about it.
no.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, a baron from that age couldn't handle a CD-ROM.
I brought my kids to the Soundgarden recently, and my son was blown the fuck away at a cassette tape. He's like, "What is this?" Like, it's a cassette tape.
It must
He's
have
like,
seemed like a
"What
reel-to-reel
do
thing."
you do with this? I'm like, "It's music." Chris would be proud. He came over with a stack of Bad Religion records.
Oh,
He's
bless
like,
his
"I
heart.
want to buy these." I'm like, first of all, those are all $30 to $40. I'm like, and
Yeah,
second
it's
of all,
vinyl
we have it on Spotify. Fourth of all, I will get you one at some point, but we're not going to buy 6 of them at this moment. So,
Yeah.
there you go.
Vinyl's
Makes
not
sense. I know.
No.
cost effective.
No, not at all. Continuing.
So,
on.
I mean, and good on Charlie, for the record. Bad Religion. You're
Yeah,
raising
Jesus
him right.
He's got good
You're
taste.
raising him right.
Ironically, Jesus Christ.
But I might say that they could very well be using the Argentinian imp and the fucking rhombus ray, could be using technology that just isn't evident. So I wouldn't rule that out.
Unless maybe it's a part of their species. Maybe that's just something that they got.
That's
you know?
true too.
There you
Ergo
go.
Magneto.
Therefore,
we are
ergo,
wrong.
booyah.
Or
Continue.
Magneto.
Quote, since the early days of ufology and going back even further in history, accounts of diminutive intelligent beings have played a crucial role in the shaping of our perception of the phenomenon. The sizes of these creatures range from a scant 12 inches to a not so small 4 feet in height. They occupy a special position within the study of the unknown, since they straddle the divide that separates folklore from contemporary approaches to enigmatic creatures. Every culture on Earth has a tradition which involves small beings that can be good or malicious, intelligent or brutish. The accounts of such creatures occur in our highly technological 20th century, and in relation to the UFO phenomenon, constitutes an enigma in itself. Truer words have rarely been spoken.
I think, because we're just assuming that it's like, oh, they're tiny aliens, but
Right.
Yeah.
not really.
And it is true. Like I think one of the most prescient things that was said in there is these intelligent beings have played a crucial role in shaping our perception of the phenomenon.
Yeah.
One of the things that, I mean, you can go to Carl Jung, you can go to a lot of people that have been deep in the phenomenon. It is not what we think it is what they want us to think it is.
Yes, they present themselves to us as they would like us to see them, which is fucking really weird.
Possible, yeah.
It's super weird though,
And not just
but
this-
it kind of makes sense.
Oh, well, of
I mean,
course.
you
'cause
can
if
philosophize
you're-
it all day long.
No, but it's not so much philosophy. I mean, it's how
it
you
is.
dominate. No, it's like, say, how Western cultures would dominate. Like, look at the Spanish, conquistadors. Right. They're like, we are emissary. You think we're a god because you see our beard, and Moctezuma, believes us to be a return of a god of your legend, but we are here bearing the word of our God, which is just mighty and just and merciful. And in some ways is, but that's not how that shit worked out. But they presented themselves as evangelists and missionaries and people that were trying to bring them closer in communion with because they worship them as a god, ergo our gods are even
Sure.
And that's part of it. That's just social directing, but that in a much harsher and eviler way. As it turned out, it was bad in every way. So my point is, I could see cultures trying to put their best foot forward and say, oh, this is what we're about. But I could also see them wanting to be deceptive in the sense that, oh, we're highly technological beings from another world, and stop using nukes. They're always saying that. Fix your environment. And maybe that's a genuine concern. Maybe they're like, stop fucking up the planet. It's not cool. Yeah. But it could be like a vast misrepresentation or just a smidgen of what they really are. This is accurate to a degree, what we're saying. We're not from here exactly, and we have high technology. But we instantly assume, because you got to remember, all this shit came out in the 50s when we were obsessed with going to other planets, when the idea of us exploring other worlds, and it's so narcissistic for us to think, oh, it's creatures from other worlds wanting to explore us, but they can just go a little further and a little faster, and they have better tech. Well, that's just an asinine, self-delusional assumption based on the narcissism of thinking everyone has our agenda and is where we're at, psychologically and philosophically. My point is, there's no reason to assume that their agenda is anything like what we think, and that these are just pieces of technology from people or creatures that evolved like us to gate it, and it's mere curiosity or whatever agenda that brings them here. It could be something much more profound or less profound.
It could be
stupider for all we know.
It could be It could be super mundane, like when we see a fucking deer.
Exactly.
The same thing.
It could be.
It's like, oh shit, look at these people. Force field.
It's just, unfortunately, that work is harder to prove.
Oh yeah.
That's the problem with it. We know space is a thing.
Sure.
So it's understandable slightly.
But we know other dimensions are a thing. Mathematically.
Yeah, but they're not dimensions in like.
Right.
I mean, dimensions that exist in.
Oh, you're right. We know Neptune is there. We don't necessarily know.
Yeah.
The Shire is fucking in another realm right beyond.
Right. Like if we knew there was a multiverse was proved, like
Shire.
that's it. Like all that shit is just open now.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I mean, so.
I mean, the math is there to indicate that a multiverse is likely.
I don't know about likely, but possible.
String theory.
You're just saying words.
He doesn't know. String theory.
Yeah, no, you're right. You nailed it.
Yeah, there.
Yeah, I mean, eventually it's going to be. I feel there's going to be a breakthrough. It's going to be a matter of time, and I don't know what it's going to bring.
Yeah, it could be good or it could be real fucking bad. We'll see.
Is the Higgs boson going to be involved? Is the Hadron Super Collider gonna, is it going to be like a broken mirror, and then there's going to be half it and half like this weird gothic underground, like fucking Stranger Things?
long
Where
as
it's
I
like,
don't know, man. It's
As
like there's a
long as
wall now. They hit a wall with the. They're looking for the Higgs, but they found something else.
right.
The boson.
And they're still looking for like dark matter. It's really, I think that's like, they're like, why is there all this shit and there's not enough energy to produce all this shit? They still can't fucking find
Dude,
it.
if it's the Shire, I'm gonna be so upset.
I don't think it's the Shire.
I'm gonna be so upset.
I don't think it's the Shire either.
I
But
don't know what
something
that
has
means,
to produce
but-
these. Well, it's not necessarily a Tolkien-esque fairy
Give me a
world
dark
full of unicorns and whatnot.
Give me a dark multiverse. I'm fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I
fine.
get it. That's the popular trend now. Thank you, Doctor Strange. But fucking,
I was thinking
and why
more
not? Why not all of it?
DC Comics death metal, but it's okay.
That's fair.
We can do that too.
Okay.
Either way, this energy has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe
right.
it's a like a seepage from another place.
All right.
And as Gordon Creighton suggested, the great British ufologist who published a lot of the the humanoid reports and all that stuff, he suggested, I've mentioned this before, that when the nuclear bomb went off on Earth, it could have done infinitely more damage to other levels of our reality than ours. Like, it tore up a huge crater. It made things irradiated. It made black glass or green glass or whatever. It did all that shit to our world. We saw what it did to Hiroshima and Nagasaki and all the other places that has been detonated as a test. But his suggestion is that, like, maybe just as much or twice as much, but who knows if there was a city there in another reality,
right?
Like, or or who knows what,
or if that was something that like alarmed everybody, like what the fuck are these guys doing over here?
Like, if
who
was
gave
somewhere
the apes the big bomb
in Omaha, if suddenly a big nuclear thing went off, and there was no indication it was terrorism, no indication anything else. Of course, it'd probably be false flagged into an excuse to invade someone else. That notwithstanding, the scientists that would be on the ground and fucking looking and be like, this is worrisome.
Yeah.
If something from another fucking dimension or universe,
Yeah, all of a sudden blew up.
and like half our corn is fucked or whatever.
Oh, not the corn.
Yo, we live on corn.
Save the
Corn's
corn.
important.
It super
Corn
is,
syrup
yeah.
alone.
Ethanol.
Pop. Corn.
Gas.
It is
ethanol.
gas. It's food. It's gas.
Yeah,
It's everything.
It's freedom.
Wow.
It's the eagle, it's the baby, it's the Jesus.
We really don't know shit about science. I'm just saying it's dangerous. It's potentially there.
Combination
And-
eagle baby Jesus.
Oh, eagle baby Jesus.
You
Will
think
he
about
protect
that.
the corn?
He fucking better, because I paid $4.75 for a gallon of gas today.
Can we
so-
clone eagle baby Jesus and
I
make him
hope
protect
so.
the corn?
All right, let's finish this up, Bobby.
All right. So now we're getting back to me.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Corrales. But what are we to make of these possibly primordial beings that seem to have access to such incredible powers and high technology while oftentimes maintaining a strictly medieval dress code or interacting with people in a way that makes it seem as if they're more afraid of us than we are of them? Do they have rules of engagement, a prime directive? Are they highly advanced predators that consider us as little more than pets or playthings? Are they our enemies, our allies, our captors, or maybe even our creators? Or are they merely people, living beings just trying to safely coexist in the same space as a bunch of well-armed, highly aggressive, nuclear-powered primates who, and I'm looking at you, Mark, would rather make conflict than conversation?
Listen, first of all, I'm a conversationalist. I will sit and have a discussion.
Gun in hand.
Plenty of, I don't even have guns.
Right.
Plenty of creature. Would a gun be possibly nearby? You never know. Depends on the creature.
All right, fair
Just
enough.
saying, I would have a conversation.
With a creature.
There was recently some rabbits in my yard
Did
that
you
we
talk to
were.
'em?
I actually got a lot of cool pictures of them.
Yeah, but why? They're not like dangerous. They don't frighten you.
You don't know that. Dude, I thought they were hares. They were so big. I'm like, how the fuck let these things out?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
All
huge.
right. Well,
I thought they were hairs.
yeah, you didn't
Yeah,
say they
like-
were hairs,
a
dude.
big giant hare. Well, that's not a thing.
Yeah, no, hair's a thing.
Yeah,
dude.
big giant fuckers.
No, but
You said it like it was the difference between a bunny and a great white shark.
right between having fun and running for your fucking life.
Exactly. Night of the fucking leap is
Oh,
on.
yeah,
Chris
it
and I
was-
had to look at each other. Yeah, at first I thought they were hares. It's like,
If you ever get to see giant my cat killed a lot of rabbits, and she's in the house now where she belongs. All right, pick him back up, Robert.
okay.
And I'm not gonna. I'll have a conversation.
All right, let me
Shoot
get back.
later.
We're thinking about what these things are.
All right, here we go.
Are they somehow vulnerable and fear that open engagement with the human race could lead to their decimation? With our collective track record on causing extinction in other species, that fear is not entirely unfounded. But whatever the case may be, and from wherever these beings may hail, one thing is for certain, that reality is much stranger and more malleable than most of us would like to believe.
Oh shit.
So again,
Fae-liens.
it's wide open. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I mean,
really
I-
working to get a fucking theory, but that doesn't matter today.
I do.
Right.
I do like the juxtaposition of like, all right, here's the UFO phenomena. Here's the fairy folklore stuff, and throughout the ages, it goes all the way back.
All the way back.
Not, and I like to say that the whole thing kicked off with the atomic bomb, but it didn't, because even further back than
That's
that,
extraterrestrial hypothesis.
exactly. But further back than that, you've got tons of weird shit.
Except for ancient alien
Tons of
fans.
weird shit.
Yeah.
Like these like these beings that show up. So if this is some sort, I don't even know. We've had the fairy discussion so many
Yeah.
times, and we
Sure.
get so fucking bogged down.
I
in
know.
it.
So let's just.
If they are living with us,
Right.
If this is something that just coexists,
Yeah.
if this is just them happen to be popping out occasionally to be like,
Right.
what's up? I mean, plenty of other animals live with us that we don't necessarily see all the time.
Sure.
If these things just are there and they've always been there and we don't know it, I mean, we're not really any better off. You know, they're there and it's fine. Like nothing's happening.
Well, except
it's not an invasion.
in Iceland where they will move roads before they'll
Well,
fucking do some shit.
Dude, don't fucking put the road over the ferry mountain.
I agree.
dude.
Listen, I'm all about safety first.
I mean,
don't give
hey,
a fuck.
dude, call
Right.
811. No, they didn't call.
But one thing that really needs to be expressed is that interactions are much less frequent. It's not just been
Much less,
it's not
yeah.
just been a transposing of encounters with the fair folk with extraterrestrial abductions and encounters,
right?
Because it's not the same thing, and it goes back to what we were discussing earlier, that what Corrales pointed out, which is in the 80s there was a very definitive shift towards grays, technology, medical abduction, hybridization, that whole mythos and phenomenon. And people stopped seeing the crazy shit that they were seeing just like a decade or two before.
You didn't get any Sams or Potosi's? Was it.
Or like that crazy, I don't even remember the case specifically, but I can see the painting in like an Italian magazine. It happened to an Italian woman who was like carrying flowers, walking through the woods, and two elf-like things complete with the pointy hats came out, like stole her flowers, kicked her shins, went back into their rocket, and took the fuck off.
Oh no! With Rob, we covered the Imjarvi elf, right, from Finland.
That's another one.
From
He was
Our
carrying
Strange
the
Skies.
cube. He had the pointy nose, the big hat. Those ones, and of course, when we tackle this subject head on, and what will no doubt be a multiple part series, we will definitely talk about the things that look exactly like medieval fairy lore creatures, but are associated with high technology. These are more esoteric, weird things that might cross the line. But when we deal with that, let's save that discussion for that, because I think we need to get a little more grounded. Let's just talk about a reptilian dude with manta ray wings and a rhombus head who just he's on neighborhood watch. He's just hanging out.
He just
doing
shows
his
up to
fucking thing.
observe. That's all he does. He
According
shows up
to the perceptions of the percipient.
Yeah, well, he shows up. He looks and he's like, "Here I am. I'm doing it." And
as natural as can be.
Which is kind of fucking weird. Like, what's so natural about it? He's just like, he's
not aggressive. Like, he wasn't jumping around like a kid in a hot rod.
No, he's literally just like watching the dude like lay there, which is kind of interesting. It's more, it's almost more of like a day at the zoo, where it's like, oh, what's the human? What are we gonna do? So it's just like observation. You're just kind of hanging out and watching. Which, if you are dealing with obviously some other form of life that lives alongside of us, kind of like we live alongside fucking zebras and tigers and shit, and you literally go to the zoo to see them.
Or you are someone who patrols their open ranges in Africa to keep poachers away.
Oh, there you go.
So, I mean, it could be active
Fae
protection.
Guardians.
Well, he had the idea that it was like a watcher of the area, and maybe that feeling didn't just come from its behavior, but we know that all sorts of extraterrestrials and anomalous encounters include psychic blasts of either what they intend to feed you, like be calm, relax, because we're going to put a giant syringe up your fucking balls and love it, or maybe because they're really they're just more in touch with their shit and they're conveying their intentions, which in this case might be, I'm here to watch this area. Could be the Earth, could be the solar system, could be the galaxy, could be 3 rooms in that guy's house. We don't fucking know.
You kind of nailed it, though, with the whole like Green Lantern thing, Guardians of O.
Right.
They just kind of show up and they're just chilling, just hanging out there, just watching the guy. Again, it didn't really do anything other than observe him.
Yeah.
Just it's watching him. So, I mean, but you know what? That's nice to hear. It's not like it's a fucking thing.
No, you'd prefer that.
Yeah, there's kind of show like, here you go.
I mean, you hear stories of them like, they'll stop a nuclear war if it happens. I would love to have heard that mythology when I was a kid.
Right.
Maybe it would have helped me. Fucking that you hear, like we care about your Earth. We want to preserve all this shit.
Yeah.
There's implications that they give a fuck, but they're never just showing up like guns a-blazing saying, "Oh, bury your nukes, fuck faces. We're not going to take over your political system. We're not going to tell you what to do day to day, but we're not going to let you kill yourself."
Yeah, but I mean that would also too. I mean, if
they're not Superman 4.
Exactly. I know
Exactly.
the worst.
Yeah,
and I didn't think 3 could have any comparison.
I think
that was worse.
With something like that, if you're talking about this other civilization and creatures that are not human, all of a sudden show up and they're like, "Hey guys," do like the little wavy arms, like let's knock it off. It's going to spark a fucking war in a heartbeat. You will never see the human race come together so fucking quickly.
You're right.
We're like, holy shit. The Ronald Reagan quote or whatever, if there's ever a thing in space to fuck with us, we'd fucking blow its dick off.
Quoted
Nancy,
exactly to the United Nations.
Said. Yeah.
Yep.
So, that's probably why they're not doing that if they are there. Because species-wise, we are the bigger, larger, more armed, we think.
Right.
And we do not fucking care about shooting shit.
So let's look at this from 2 different angles. From the angle that they have this super high technology that they have apparently been able to use their vehicles to shoot down ballistic missiles in flight and shut down entire missile ranges or start them up in the case of that one crazy thing in Russia, but then close them down at the last second, thank God. You could come in and just be like, not even say a word, ships roll overhead,
Right.
all nukes stop working. Like, you don't stop conventional weapons or whatever.
There's like EMPM or something?
Just boom. Yep, but not medical facilities, not electronics, not your fucking, Game Boy if you're living in 1994. Whatever it is that you have.
Game Boy.
Yeah. Whatever it is you're rocking, it's not stopping.
Your Sega CDs.
Except for like...
Sega Master System.
Thank you. Nuclear weapons. And all of a sudden we see these things, and people are going to take it as a threat. The military is going to take it as a threat. Scared people are going to take it as a threat. Normal people are going to take it as a threat. But if they don't do anything, we just do our thing. That's going to do what exactly Reagan said and what you were suggesting.
Yeah.
It's going to bring us all together. And if our nukes just don't work anymore and then they just fly away and we can't do anything about it, then that's going to be one of the greatest bonding things that they could have ever done for the human race.
But then you have to deal with the fact that there's another civilization that has more power than you that just took out your entire arsenal. So
and
you're
we can stand
at
to be
their
humbled.
But you're at their will, and we will never be humbled as a people. You know that. As a human race, there's no fucking
we're
way.
hubristic as fuck.
Exactly. This is interesting though, because this is kind of something that I think about with like the Tic Tac video, where I'm like, son of a bitch, if that's not human, fuck. If that is human, double fuck.
Yes,
Double
of course.
fuck for that.
Agreed.
Yeah, because when they start talking about like hypersonics and shit like that, you're like, oh wait, mutually assured destruction doesn't fucking matter anymore because of hypersonic missiles.
Right.
So it's not like you launch, we all die. It's like, don't we all die no matter what? Well, actually, we kill you first, and you never get to fucking launch anything back.
Yeah.
So I hope they're just fucking cool, man. I hope they're just not gonna, I hope this isn't gonna be a thing. The little tiny guy, Chris's little Magneto, his little reptilian Magneto. He wasn't doing anything bad. He was just hanging out with the force field, and he was scared.
Yeah, stay away from my fucking pants.
Yeah, he's had pants on. What's his deal?
He's clearly a Marvel Icons Legends figure.
That's what I thought of too, actually.
Because they're about that size.
Sounds like, where he's got his little force field.
So here's the alternative that nobody really talks about in terms of extraterrestrials, Fae, or anything, and that is, what if they are legitimately scared of us?
No.
What if we really do have the capacity? What if the reasons
Yeah.
that trolls and brownies and dwarves don't ever fucking associate with us, they never really liked us much anyway, and dwarves are in their fucking caverns getting gems and whatnot, but is because guns can kill them, and fucking bazookas hurt, and napalm is a nightmare.
Bazookas hurt.
And it's a shit show,
Also
so they
fair.
don't deal with us directly, but now we can literally tear apart the fabric of multi-realities, the ones they live in part of the time, the ones they come here to scavenge their shit or do whatever they're doing,
right?
And they are like they have to find a way to mitigate us. So they're building tech to just stop our missiles and shit. It's not to even save us from us, it's to save them from us.
We could be the problem.
And they are
there's
terrified.
actually a really good point that we actually probably are the problem because what do you do? How do you fight us? You know?
Not all of us are the fucking problem,
no.
but enough of us.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of us
ones,
are.
The ones that are capable of being the problem,
Yeah.
i.e. the ones in charge of the fucking serious weapons, and then even the ones in charge of the not so serious weapons, they're the people that will fuck you up.
Or
They're not talking to us.
No, it's true. The flip side of that, though, too, is that maybe they just don't bother with us. Maybe they're just so fucking beneath them that they're just like, yeah, sort of for little tiny diminutive people. We don't fucking need you big hairy ape fucks. Like, go ahead. Good luck.
But then why
yourselves.
the interest? Well, then again, we have entomologists.
I mean,
They're
Jesus
interested
Christ,
in
dude!
bugs.
I just was blown away by a hair.
right.
Yeah, fucking hair
dude,
in my
the
yard.
deadliest
Okay?
of yard animals.
Yeah, I get
couldn't
blown away
believe
by
it.
animals all the time. Jesus
Yeah, no
Christ.
doubt.
I saw a fucking woodpecker. I was like, holy shit, it's a woodpecker! And then that was, I moved on with my day.
Yeah.
I made it.
I mean, what choice do you have at
Yeah.
that point? Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's interesting though, and I've always liked the fairy connection, especially with Mr. Jacques Villy in the Magonia, the half pipe to Magonia, which is my
The half pipe to Magonia.
Pipe to
Dude,
Magonia.
literally, we
I
could
don't know
write that.
either way.
Yeah.
dude
talking
in
about.
search of Magonia, like Animal Chin, but you're in search of Magonia.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
Sure,
there you
what is
go.
it? What's Begonia?
The land of Magonia?
Yeah, describe it.
Yeah, dude, it's a fucking fairy. It's
With fairies? Oh, describe it.
No, it's not the fairies. You always back me to the fairy corner.
You
No one-
literally said, did he not say fairies?
Sure
yeah,
did.
no one can describe the Fae where they live in Magonia.
Mushrooms. They live in mushrooms.
I do like the name of
Unbelievable.
it being Magonia though.
Yeah.
Because what do they consider like the goblin world, right?
Well, no, that's a different thing.
I thought the goblin world was kind of the same thing.
Well,
I think it is.
I think
I'm almost
it's so
positive
hard.
it
This
is.
is exactly. This is why it's
The
like
goblin world, as far as my knowledge, is this perception that the world is full of demonic, impish, all sorts of shit, and they're here, and the universe is littered with
But
it.
they are not part of the Fae, or they are part of the Fae.
But Magonia is the place, which I think came specifically from a place cited in the Middle Ages. I think that's where Jacques got it, but I'm not sure either about that. Where these others live. So do I see parallels? Yeah. Do I think they're exact synonyms? Probably not.
All right,
but
so
they're close. You're right.
Are they adjacent?
Well, do you have to cross the Goblin Magonia
Dude,
Bridge?
if you're in Magonia and we're like, this summer we'll be vacationing in the Goblin World, and you take your airship, if you remember that episode,
I sure do.
motherfuckers.
Dude, I know
and
about
you fucking
airship.
go across to the Goblin
Fuck do
World.
I know about airships.
You fucking hang out in the Goblin World.
So you
Drag
think
your anchor
there's
over
just
a cow.
one adjacent Fae universe, but there's different lands, right? Like just Lord of the Rings. There's Mordor.
Yeah,
and then there's
Dude, there's Skinny Atlas. There's Marcellus.
Right.
The rich people.
Right.
There you go. And then there's Auburn with a giant prison. Are we Mordor?
So there's Fern Gully,
Fern fucking Gully.
Rob's like,
and then right. Then there's the Goblin Kingdom.
Yeah, there you go.
Led by
that's Port Byron.
Possibly Tim Curry.
Possibly Tim.
God damn it. I think Chris is right. I mean, jokes aside, I think he's right that all these realms lie within each other and maybe are separated by the flimsiest of atomic fucking barriers, the veil, if you will.
Are we gonna thin it?
There are a million. Like, you can't walk through it. You can't do. You have to basically Buckaroo Banzai with a particle accelerator, a mirror, and a big car battery. You have to do something highly technological and maybe have fucking Alan Moore there to cast a spell to break this ultra thin yet virtually impenetrable barrier between these worlds. But that is something that they, at least some of them, are capable of traversing much more easy than us. But then again, we might have high scientists, again, going stranger fucking things, that can, high scientists, just great, like people that are deep in black projects, the high scientists, that can traverse these bonds too. So maybe it's the elite in every realm that can fucking do it, and they steal your babies, or you go and party in pork for an hour and a half, and you come back and your baby daughter's 22, and what happened, Dad?
Dude, I think Aleister Crowley was holding them all back, and now we just have fucking Alan.
You think he was the bulwark?
I think he was. I think now we have Alan Moore and Grant Morrison hating each other, but holding the line against the fucking Magonia. They can't stand each other.
Wizards, they hate each other.
They hate each
other
so
Magonia
much,
more.
and they're just holding it back like this with their spells until one of them, I don't know, until they get into another pissy wizard.
Oh no,
match.
their heads are gonna scan or explode at some point.
I don't know if they've had another pissy wizard match. They may have.
It's probably constantly happening.
Yeah.
The Greys actually is the future us, but they're trying to warn us against Magonia from some future event.
Okay,
that they're
I'm
trying
with
to
it.
stop.
Hold on.
Oh, better yet,
wait.
what they're doing, they're super intelligent, but they evolved and they are now enslaved to the Magonians.
That's right. Okay, that could be the future
Don't
event, yeah.
forget about Grant Morrison and Alan Moore.
No, they're here. They're
And
doing
Crowley,
their thing.
bring
But
Crowley.
Let me finish.
Okay, all right.
And they realize that they're physically too weak to do the thing, and they're smart enough to have figured out how it was fucked up, but they need to come back, reinvigorate the gene pool, make that special version of us with really shitty stringy hair and big eyes, but has the physical endurance and the gray-like intelligence. Buff Greys. So they're making buff Greys with big blue eyes.
Change the past.
People
Buff
think their babies are getting stolen. Their babies aren't being stolen. They're being drafted into a
Buff
war. A war for
right.
humanity's fucking salvation.
Yeah.
And these buff Greys are going to be the one thing that can punch an elf back into another dominion.
Right.
Yeah,
Because you got the brain, but you got the muscle.
Yeah,
So
all right.
buff Greys, the elves, it all makes sense.
Aleister Crowley just eating all kinds of shit you shouldn't eat. Like, come, there you go.
Oh, you can eat cum if you want.
I'm just saying he that's how his magic worked with sex magic, and he was holding it all back. And now,
Buff Grey.
He was wrong.
well, now we need. This is why
was
we have
wrong.
the backup of Moore and fucking Grant Morrison. This is why we have him holding it.
You got to get past this.
I can't. They're my two favorite.
no, but why-
They are my two favorite
All right.
current magicians
So,
and comic book writers.
I'm sure there are Earthican magicians, as we're referred to by other species, who are fucking doing their best to hold the line, who maybe understand that the Greys are coming to save us. And
this is
maybe I
why-
hate the Greys because they're boring, because all these other things were just crazy, fun, goofy shit, but these are like the fucking workaday bureaucrat military types that are like, yeah, but we got to win this war.
Yeah.
If we do not win this war, and not even win the war, like we don't need to decimate all the dwarves, we just need to fucking rebuild the wall. Oh, God, I just said that. Oh my God! I walked myself into a corner. I can't. You know what? If it's the gray wall, we got to do it.
We have to keep up. We got to hold the line. There you go.
I think we just drove ourselves insane.
Isn't that like Leonidas, right? Hold, and then they die anyway, but they died valiantly.
Valiantly is fine. Valorically, why not? I made up a word. Here's another thing. On your shield or with, buddy.
What's that?
Do it or die trying.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Live by the sword, die by the sword.
Oh, my God, Mark, let me borrow a gun.
There you have it, Fae-liens. We hope we may have made you a little bit dumber with this episode because we clearly made ourselves
This was not the episode I should have came back to.
No, this is perfect for you. This is
I solved humanity, but...
You did. And I kept bringing up the wizards because that's fucking what I do, dude.
Yeah, but I feel like they're not the real wizards we need.
They are the real wizards.
No, I don't think they are.
They are.
No,
Dude,
I think they get a lot of press. The real ones aren't getting any hype at all.
That's the deal.
All right. Well, I'm not saying that there isn't others, but there's clearly these two
wizards
stalwarts.
never claim they are real wizards.
No.
That's how that goes.
They're the real
goes.
bastions of humanity. They're going to save us from ourselves, and they're not looking for glory.
Okay,
They're just they're working. They're working at a Taco Bell. They're doing whatever the fuck they have to do in the day.
You understand that the two specific wizards, Moore and Morrison, are not like millionaires, right? They're like totally working on all their fucking shit that like never gets any. Well, actually, no, they both are well known. DC.
They are very well.
They are very well known.
Yeah.
Yes, but they do work their balls off.
I'm sure they work their balls off, but I'm sure they're set.
But not wizarding.
Okay.
This is just what I'm saying.
Thank y'all for joining us. Social media, Robert.
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
On occasion.
Hey, can I?
We're
Instas, Fistas, Tinders,
Fista?
Wigwams.
Fista?
What's the Fista?
I don't think I
really
want
don't know.
anything to do with
No,
Fista.
I don't want Fista.
No.
Yeah. No, it's a very specific dating app.
The Instas, the Twitters, and the Facebook. Check us out there. Thank everyone that follows us. We appreciate all those direct messages. HellerSpace.com. Get yourself some T-shirts. Summer's here, boys. Get them tank tops.
Oh, the time is right.
The time is right, dude. It's pool
Dancing
season.
in the streets.
It's Croc season. It's outdoor Croc season. I got my lawn Crocs. And my lawn pits.
Also for you.
Yeah, ready to go. We're fucking doing it.
And if you happen to know, because you're like, I don't know, a voyeur or something, a neighbor who's a wizard, and they're trying to keep it on the down low, and they're saving you day after day, buy them a T-shirt.
There you go. Go to HellerSpace.com. Get them an Enigmatic Entities T-shirt. Everyone's happy.
They'll appreciate it.
The Patreon.com/Cryptonaut podcast. $1 is a shout out and the one bonus audio. $5 is a shout out and the no more than 6 bonus audios. And access to our Discord server, which we do monthly events there, so be sure to go check that out. We appreciate all the support from everybody. It's so cool. Without y'all, we would not be doing this show, which is fucking a mind blower every time you look at the numbers.
Every fucking time.
So weird. You're like,
not just the number. Just if it was 3, I'd be like, oh my God. The fact that
I always keep moving the numbers where I'm like, well, when it gets over this number, I'm going to be nervous. And I've been nervous so many times. I'm like, God damn, it's too many people. Like, shit.
Yeah.
I love it.
It gets fucking nerve-wracking.
I'm honestly humbled all the time and love it.
Yeah, no, and thank you all so very much for your support. Before we take off, though, we want to give a very special thank you to our good buddy, Dana Bruce.
God bless you.
She sent us one hell of a quote-unquote first class package for some first class dudes, she said.
Oh, she's so sweet.
And there was just full of fucking deliciousness and little tiny bottles of booze.
Those little crunchy fucking graham cracker,
those
like
biscuits.
Ginger snappy things.
Oh my God, they're so good. I already, as I mentioned earlier, drank
How many of those
top
bottles
shelf
of
whiskey.
Tito's did you drink?
I'm on my first bottle of
Oh,
Tito's.
okay, all right.
First bottle
Chris
of Tito's.
no, Chris drank
I just
all the
fucking
whiskey.
decimated everything.
Dude, I can see Chris get whiskey face.
Dana, thank you so much.
Yeah,
It's
oh
so
my
smooth
God, I
and
know.
so good.
It's
And
so
and you
dope.
know what? Those
Anytime.
goddamn puffy furry pencil
I'm in.
pen
Yeah,
things
those are dope.
wicked. The Mothman fucking sticker is delightful.
I actually DM'd her and I was like, hey, thank you so very much for the package. It's so dope.
So good.
And then I was like, I'm not going to lie. The biscuits might not make it to the boys. And she's like, it'll be our secret, but I'm putting this out on Front Street. I did eat biscuits before we got here. I've been eating them for a couple of days.
All right, hey man, you
Son
know
of
what?
a
You
bitch.
need this?
However, there was a shitload
Son
in
of a
there,
bitch.
and they're good.
No,
and
there was more. There was more. I ate some. I like the biscuits. I wasn't gonna touch the booze.
That's true. We got the booze. He gets the biscuits.
I didn't want to hold anything.
Take the booze, leave the bit.
Do I need to make daily treks to Vape Cult to get the packages now? Because you're gonna just eat all the good shit.
No.
Oh, is that what happened? Oh, we can't trust you. I just realized.
He just
Chris
admitted.
opened my
He just
eyes.
fucking admitted.
How often does this
The
happen?
biscuits were delicious, and they've been in my.
Okay, listen. I'll tell you
They've
what.
been in my basement.
It's
for
a fair
like
trade-off
week.
of the whiskey
It really is.
I'm not going to drink any of the whiskey. You guys can
That's
have
what
it
I
all.
mean. Versus
I just wanted to have
All right,
a little...
can we all pause?
What's that?
From these recriminations and bullshit and say, Dana, you fucking rule.
Yes, thank you, Dana.
Because it's really about Dana right now.
Yeah, totally. No,
No,
thank you.
100% it is.
Well, thank you so
awesome.
much. We
Mark's
appreciate...
thievery notwithstanding, you are brilliant.
We
Yes.
appreciate all of the gifts that we receive from our listeners, even when
Everyone.
I eat a lot of them before
Yes.
they give them to you guys.
That's
It's
fair.
fine. Whatever. There you have it. Thank you all so very much, and we're talking to you soon.
Goodbye.
You see my
yeah.
little, I almost did I did like
You
a
almost
thing.
dabbed.
I
Yeah, you
almost
dabbed.
did, but I was looking like this. Yes.
Dude, I built a wall, you dabbed. We're not ourselves today. We are not ourselves today.
Ah, nice. Oh, shit. We'll talk to you.